Welcome, investors, traders, punters and dribblers, to this special Anzac Day edition from Traders Community. In a day where it was the end of the world all weekend, open like the end of the world, and then we bounced throughout the day in a bit of a rebound. Remember, before we get into it, not financial advice. Traders sharing their opinions, views, what we're seeing, what we're not seeing, and all that good stuff. Do your own due diligence, make your own decisions, be aware of what you are, an investor, trader, punter, or dribbler, and who to listen to, who not to listen to. Anyway, without further ado, let's go through today. We have the glorious Madavi, he of the Big Short fame. And we have Meta Johnny over there, spruiking something, recovering from a big weekend out there on the Balboa Peninsula, apparently. We don't want to know anything. It's a safe way to be. So anyway, here we are. We have oil, got wrecked. Pretty well everything's been textbook. Oil got wrecked. It's come back to 98.60 right now. S&P, same story, back at 4,300. Same story over there on all the stock markets, really. Nasdaq, 1350. Russell, 1951. Natgas, 652. That's not right. It's 680. So let me update you on that one. I was looking at something there. 680. I was like, hang on. If that's the problem, we have an issue. Vol came back pretty heavily, back to 27, still pretty rich. Okay, SPUs. Traded textbook, as we said, it's pretty well done a perfect ABC off the 4,500. So the question's going to be when we look at daily and weekly what this rebound was today. It really looks like nothing when you compare it over the last 3 days, right? But it was a 100 handle bounce, so it's pretty nice, and it went pretty well clockwork. You can see here on the 60 minute, it's 08. If we go to our 240, same thing. So very technical, pretty easy trade actually today. S&P was minus 2.8 on the 5 minute. It looks easy, but there was a couple of false breaks. Then finally it got going. And really today, when you got extreme bearishness, and every dribbler was out there warning all weekend. So if you notice, we just stay away from social media and that sort of stuff and that's going on, because it will... You got enough information what's going on, right? So then you go to your charts and measure your response there to that, and that's why we use that. So the big news of the day, I guess, was Musk got his Twitter. They all relented and... realizing, shit, if he didn't bid for this thing's worth $28, right? That's basically the way I look at it. But what was there? Any other big news? Not really, right? Coke had earnings. You had the Chinese do their big cut on the RRR, Forex rate. So all that gave a little bit of support. The reality is, though, everything's a bit of a mess out there. Nothing's got better. It's just the market got really short. And we have a big tech earnings week, so I think there was a lot of profit taking ahead of that. We actually finished up on the Dow, 238 handles, Nasdaq 165, SPUs 24, the 10-year finished, actually raised nearly a 32 basis point, nearly a full point. So up 30 and 30 seconds in the old numbers to finish at 279. So in reality, we bounced from a short-term situation. We have a lot of big earnings today, this week coming out, so it makes sense. I mean, that's pretty well how I traded. It was one of those easy, straightforward trades as far as I was concerned. I didn't expect it to go 100 points, Madavi, I got to be honest, but we did. I just go through those trades, and on a day like today, I pretty well just traded and looked at Apple and the S&P Oil I didn't dick with. Once it does that, if you've looked at all those moves, it did what we expected. And as all last week when we said take profit on the oil and gas, when all the dribblers are talking about them, time to evacuate. You don't know when it falls, but when it does, it's pretty dramatic. And also, talking about earnings, you have Chevron and Exxon out on Friday. You've already had Schlumberger and Halliburton. So that's that. So let's, as far as the weekly goes, we did actually have a green spug. But as you can see, we broke that. Unless it gets over that tanking again, which is a long way away, it's hard to get excited. We go daily. We didn't even get back into the cloud, but what we did do was get back over that breakdown level. And if we look at 240, you can see where we shut. This is why to profit at the end of the day, Madawi, right at the tanking on the 240. But you can see oversold. So remember, and if you looked at puts and calls, you just saw how. Remember the old adage, don't buy puts when you don't have to. As far as the Dow goes, we did recover that tanking that it lost last week. So pretty good. Okay, let's bring Madawi on the NASDAQ. So this is the daily. You can see almost same as the S&P, almost down to 1.8. Are you there, mate? He's in a bunch of trades right now. So my guess is...
Hello.
Oh, there. We have the great Alan has joined us, everyone. He of the CYN fame, that big call at the end of last week. But Darby's actually in a bunch of trades. So quite a big market today, Alan.
Yes, sure was.
The man who they named Al Bundy after, apparently. He's a bit of a high school football star who last year told me Tom Brady was done. Or was that 2 years ago? But so big moves today. Does it continue on is the question. As far as NASDAQ goes, you can see on the weekly a little bit more constructive, which is interesting. Okay, let's move on to energy. Last week, all we said was, watch what energy's doing. Tanking, Cajun on the weekly, and that's exactly what we did. We tested the tanking last week. We sold all the way off to the Cajun. This is what machines are doing, options are doing. That's what matters. On the daily, look what we did, right to that breakup point. See how this is where all the orders are resting, and because of the thinness, it's what's controlling everything here. Today, sometimes it's good to stay away, which is we did from these markets with all this noise. As far as Natty goes, pretty clinical as well. But look at how much this thing bounces, right? People get all the one way. But then you look at it, you can see very much like oil, it's coming to old supply and demand, right? If you look at daily, same thing. Look what spat. This is what got us buying some Natty, which meant us shorting cold. We've been spending a bit of time on cold. The Cajun when it gets back above it. So you've got to really zoom out to the longer term positions. Let's look at some of the commodities real quick. So you saw a lot of commodities get wrecked. The best one has been Alcoa. So everyone wanted to buy aluminum or aluminium up here. Every dribbler is out here, like 96, 97. $30 later in 4 weeks. So you don't hear about that. You just hear about short supply, inflation. Here's the real world. Look at that. That's $30 off the high. That's over 30%. So remember, we trade that via Alcoa. So in other words, keep an eye on all these. Don't just listen to the dribblers and heads up. Look at copper did. Same pattern, right? $5 down to 440. These are big moves, Al. This is the real world, you know. So let's look at our gold. Gold finally got under that Cajun. It tried to hold it. So we're now building a bigger ABC. Until it breaks under this, you got to say that this potential's still alive, right? Silver, this is the punters one. So we tend to take the other side of this. It's no conspiracy. It's just a poor man's gold. There's a ton of it. Bang. Look at that. So we're going through these quickly because they're all in the weekly. As far as soybeans and corn, all of these things are holding up there, but they've come off. Allied, you're trying to talk, but you're coming through all blurred, mate. And there's wheat. So the grains are all the same pattern. Let's look at some stocks real quick. Like I said, all we pretty well traded was Apple. So we have some big earnings this week. One of them is Facebook. So Facebook tried to rally all day from that edge of despair. And barely we couldn't...
Sorry about that.
Oh, well, Al turned in for a while.
I was talking. I thought you weren't hearing me.
No, I couldn't hear you. You're on mute there.
Yeah, I'm on mute. No wonder you can hear me.
So, now we moved on to Facebook. So, part of my thesis today was we were short covering into these. Facebook did a -2.8 as well. Bounced $5 up to here. Okay, let's look at them all these big ones.
PTGX, mate. PTGX.
Well, hang on. Let me do these ones real quick, and then we'll look at that little beauty. So Apple was just an easy trade today. So look at your OIs, and that's what makes them easy, right? Nothing's really easy. What I meant was there was reasons to buy and sell it. So you saw Apple, 58.50 did a double. Again, big optionality. We did the perfect ABC, and we rallied right into the close. These tend to go more than what you expect.
Easy peasy.
Who else is reporting? MSoft.
NKTX. DWAC.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just going through who's reporting this week real quick.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to list some stocks.
Oh, yeah, I am. But we looked at some of those earlier. So, again, look at them in a sec. Twitter and DWAC. So, here's MSoft. Let's see what it did today. So, MSoft, same thing. 270 to 280. So, these are some big wipes of a lot of these stocks. Now, what's going to be really interesting is what happens when these big guys report this week. We got Google, MSoft, Apple, Intel.
Got it, Johnny.
So many more. Then we got oil at the end of the week with Chevron and Exxon. Let's just look at Exxon real quick. So what you also saw was a lot of smart people. I don't know why people... So you got to be proactive. That's why I always say, don't worry about getting out too early. Don't get out too late. Exxon's fallen from 89 to 79. When all the dribblers go on and look for more reasons, just take your bloody profit. And so look at that. So now we have this report on Friday. But look at these moves. These are big moves. And you never know when the top or bottom is. So you just take them. But technically this was perfect. Five waves, A, B, C. Or 1, 2, 3, however you want to put it. That's Exxon. So all these levels are out here. Go save them. Look what it is. Plus 2.8, right? So this is going to be a big week how this plays out. Okay, let's look at the stock that the glorious one. Which one are you talking about?
There's DWAC.
Well, GWAC. Okay, so Trump, that's the Trump one. And remember we had Elon's little Twitter thing today. So DWAC, as we looked at last week, had this crazy big move, got to 170, and we've spent all this time correcting this. So what we saw today was it came back and retested these December numbers at 35. Let's go on and look at an hourly chart on that. So there's all different theories on DWAC, and they're usually tainted by what you think of Trump, really, end of the day. But at the end of the day, what we look at is technically, and the fact of the matter is, it is a social media platform that's having a lot of trouble working. I know it's early days and all that, but it's what the market thinks of it. So we did see it just sell off, even more so since Twitter, for obvious reasons. And today, it hit new bottoms today, and it actually rallied off those lows, 32 up to 38, 39. And we're trying to settle on that. So
make a prediction about this DWAC. I say 36 months, and it's in Trump's favorite room. BK.
It's in what?
36 months, this company will be BK.
Oh, bankrupt? Yeah.
Oh, or Chapter 11, whatever stuff. With the rest of all these companies, where do they all end up? Same place.
So has he been paid on all this or what? How much of this does he own? I haven't followed.
Something. Well, there's a reason why he's not joining back up Twitter, because he's getting paid from this.
Right. So it's a separate beast anyway. So you can see. So here's the reality. This thing now is underneath these lows are for December. If you want to just look at simple charts, you had this blow off top. You came down and corrected it. 1, 2, 3. There's your A. There's your B. Here's your C. Right? So if you're bullish, or it's got to get over this tanking line. Okay, then you got the Cajun line. If you're bearish, this was your top. This is 1, 2. This is your start of your third wave, fourth wave, and as Madavi said, into oblivion. So that's pretty well cut and dried.
I think I moved up like 200,000 downloads or something before I could download this.
Oh, there you go.
Shit, we might be there before I have to retire.
So let's go back to that. What was the other stock you just mentioned to me?
I'm trading this one right now. It's a gorgeous. It's Peter, Tom, Georgia, X-ray.
PTGX. I didn't do this. I had a conference call straight after the market. What the heck is this? So this was a $48 company. Got gapped down like a legend. Look at this. 46, gaps down to 20, goes to 12, gaps up. Wow, what's the name of this company?
This company is called Pro Tangerous Therapy. It basically, I think it's got one drug. It's got one drug, and it works. It works as good as snake oil does.
Well, that's what it looks like. So it's gone from 46 down to 20 in the gap. Then it gaps up. So I guess this is all FDA stuff.
So yeah.
So it's 16 to 32, and then it gapped down the middle of the month.
Hey, listen, for me to get any shares, the stock was at 17.5, right? I went down to like 15.60 to get filled with a little bit of shares.
Wow, look at it. I mean, this is an accident waiting to happen.
I saw that thing, I was like, all right, but I got, let me tell you, after I was done, there was not much left.
So look at it today. So that's on a weekly, a daily, whatever.
Do you see that chart on it? Look at 19. I started getting to feel at 15. Do you see that just drop? Oh, do you see that?
Yeah. I see it now. So this is today.
Yeah. Right there is when I got someone's filled and there was nothing left until you hit 15.
So, yeah. I couldn't short this, unfortunately. I remember now. That was a great call. You got the news on it. So this is biotechs. Remember that one? This is why you take stop losses. What was that one I got whacked on last week? CRTX or something?
We got this NKTX too.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. There's a bunch of them. Then we got Warner Brothers. I'll type them to you if you want.
Well, there was one last week that I remember I couldn't get out of it at 3. I'd take a good 80-cent hit on it. $4.
I took a lot of hit.
And then now it's like 120.
I can't remember what I did yesterday.
So what was it? NKTX?
NKTX. Then Texas, like TX.
Yeah, God's country, God's state.
There you go. You take the CR out, and there you go.
So this company was, again, another biotech. And you can see it ran up. Very sharp volatile. These ones are dangerous. And as I said, these are punters, not for investors. But so this one here, the Great Trade, they announced a secondary or something up here. Anyway, public offering. So that's what this sell-off was. So here you could short it, here you couldn't. Well, you could, I couldn't. Depends where you are, right? So
So sometimes you can do something, sometimes I can't. You know how it works out.
Yeah. So this is biotech. These things are crazy. Veru is another one that moved all right today. Not like
from
this.
Friday. You remember that one? Swivel.
Oh, yeah, that was an awesome call, by the way. So if you recall, the Madavi made it. What is it again? Swindle.
Swivel. Is our fellow sound.
No, I know. What's the symbol again?
Like an Uber or fucking a bus fare thing you could use your cell phone or something.
But what's the symbol again?
It is SWVL. I tell you, send it to you.
Yeah, no, I remember. So if you remember, this is one that Madavi was buying last week. He was building a position in because they were EUA, and he believed that they had something going on, the way the volume was going. Sure enough, it came down to 480, and then they announced today they bought, I forget who it was, but someone in Europe. Yeah. And that increased their income. So it actually ran as high as 960. Then lo and behold got whacked again. But you can see the volatility. But there's a pattern in these. Look at these moves because they're thin. This is a $3 move, $3 to $4 move, $3 move. So these are not for the faint-hearted. And often you can't short them. Obviously, if you can short them, you could do these spikes and you do your measured move. So that was a really good call. Hopefully some of you punters and dribblers got on that one, right? That's pretty well. Snap was another one. It's not really worth looking at. I think that covers everything, right?
Sent you a couple. I'm holding a last one, a loser. I got that from our meta guy. He was in the metaverse. He liked it, and hasn't worked out.
Yeah. I like to keep my feet on the ground than the meta.
Yeah, so that's the last of that ER thing. I don't know. I don't have very many of it.
So, as I said today, I concentrated pretty well on the Spurs, some Natty Wacky, 696, right?
I didn't do a trade in NQs or nothing. I'm just holding all my shorts.
Yeah, you took it, which is unusual. I'm usually the swinger.
Yeah. You are the swinger for sure.
Yeah, that didn't come out too well. No, unfortunately, punters and dribblers, I have a pretty boring bloody life, but none of that.
Swinger.
So to me, it was just too good a setup, and it's been a fantastic little move actually. The down and up. Natgas was the other great trade today. Went as I showed. So always do your top-down approach. Look weekly, daily, so you know where you're at. And then I believe, eyes front trading, trade what's in front of you. You never know what happens. In a world where you got crazy world leaders, crazy inflation and monetary positions unknown. Don't forget what happened last year with that fund that blew up. There was all one way. Who knows what's out there? You see it all the time. We've talked about in commodities. Trade what you know, trade what you don't. You get to use optionality when you can. You're going to lose some, you're going to win some. But try to trade what's in front of you.
Here's my thinking behind this, mate. This is, I think we're more
thinking about what? The crazy world or what?
It's a crazy world, but I know I've been wrong for a couple of years now.
You're talking about the Nasdaq, yeah. Okay.
About the whole market. I just think we're closer to the top, and I finally got a nice lead on it, which I could sit back for a little bit and not sweat it out.
Well, yeah. So basically, if we look at the Nasdaq weekly. So that's your green line, that 50 WA. So we're either A, B, C. Right? So this is either a 4, 1, 2, and we go all the way back up again. It's kind of hard to believe. So then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 1, 2, and we're going all the way down here. This is an absolute top, a fifth, and we're going down here somewhere. Or this is A, B, of a bigger ABC. So this would be if I'm a real bull, I'd be hoping this is a A, this is a B, this is a B, C, so a good correction. So either way it goes here, absolute top, it goes a lot lower. the bull, the crazy. So there's a bloke that people make fun of. I won't even mention his name, but he kind of called the top, and now he's calling this as a rip and tear bull market. I don't know about NAS, but in SPUs. So that is possible. I mean, and then he says after that, it's like a total wipeout. So there's different scenarios. That's why I just trade what's in front of me. But you can see all that.
Yeah, but here's the thing is, we have like now you have like the triple witching, and you have all the things. We have inflation, high interest rates, we got a lot of things that are starting to hit wars, bad politicians. Yeah, I mean, they're all stacking up.
Yeah, 100%. So that's that guy's theory. The guy who says we get a rip and tear and then collapse. Because it's like eventually it just all goes to crap, right?
Well,
it's a question whether, basically, it's really three scenarios. This is going to have a rip and tear and then it's all over. This is a more constructive correction. Or this is the absolute top already. I mean,
ripped. I mean, I remember in 1999 we went from the Nasdaq from 2,500 to 5,000, so we doubled, then tanked. So you think we're gonna go to 30,000 and then tank?
And the Nasdaq?
That's what we did in 1999.
Isn't that already this move though? 6,000.
That's what I'm saying. When the guy says rip, that's a rip to me.
So a rip and tear would be just a taste fair. Everyone, every bear.
Was it 99 that? You remember? We went 2,500. It's the same move. Percentage by it's.
But isn't that this move? 6,000 to 16. Hasn't it already happened? You're saying.
But the time frame's a little bit longer. I think we did it in 99. I think we did it. I think we were up and back in less than 6 months or a year.
Oh, it was pretty quick. I mean, so Prince's 1999 came out, and then we were like, when doves cry by the end of the year, right? Pretty much. I can't really remember what happened in 2000. I was just in nappies back then.
The whole thing went up pretty fast and came back. I think this is taking a little bit longer. So that's the only reason if this is not the right.
Well, they've pumped so much money into it. I mean, all those scenarios are possible.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of money back then, too. I think there was more money in the dot-com days than now.
Oh, I don't think so, mate. You'd be shocked how much money there is. It's all created. They made it out of thin air, mate. Magic. It's all magic.
Back then, I mean, you had like a 10-cent stock that put a .com on it.
Yeah, but the difference was they weren't just printing money out of nothing. Okay, you sent me this one to look at from the metaverse. Let me have a look. Hang on. I got to find your text again.
I don't even know what that is. It just didn't. It's not working out for me. I still own it. I'm in at 211.
ERYP. Let's have a.
This lady just calls him every once in a while, and she's like,
"This sounds like a metaverse freaking." Let me have a look at it. EYRP. Okay, punters and dribblers. Have a look.
It's a pharmaceutical. It's ERYP.
Oh, so it's a $2 thing. Yeah. It did a 110. Did a rip and tear. 250 down to 150. So yeah. Okay, I'm glad I didn't do that one. Hell of a short. Could you short it? Look at this short. What it did today. It replicated what it did back here in the 7th. So a lot of these sort of things do that because what happens is the punters and dribblers believe the shit they read. They get into them. It keeps falling. The average. They hope and pray. It goes up. You would think they would flog it. And they're up here, but what happens is they believe their own dribble and they actually buy more here. Oh, I love it. Okay, what's the other one you sent?
I think that's it.
I think that might be it. Oh, WBD. This was a good
call. I mean, like 80 cents on this.
This is a good investors type stock. In other words, there's a rational view to it. Oh, my goodness.
Part of AT&T, it sucked, everybody said, but it came out and now it's golden.
Yeah, so this is all these media stocks. There's a few people punting around on them. So this got a nice bounce with Twitter, -3H, good technical. You can see it bounce up here. So that's Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, another one while we're talking about, this is We got to have a look at one of the DDD stocks. So this has been one of my favourite sorts. FUBU. I've always thought this a piece of crap for many reasons. FUBU, look at this little dribbler today. It got down to $4.40 and couldn't even bounce off that. What a dribbler. You just think how many people are caught on this. And so not only just from technical, but as you know, this has been one of it. It's in the DDD index. But if Disney owns a share of this and didn't even bother mopping it up all the way down, you know what it's all about, right? So that's our dribbler of the day would have to be FUBU, I would say. So, well, that's about it. I hope everyone did really well. You can see, hopefully what this market's showing is you have a strategy, weekly, daily, you work it all the way down, you work off your grid, you look at sentiment, right? And you can see when all the dribblers get into something, it's pretty well the end of it. Now, while Kramer cops a lot of, at least he gets it right occasionally. I just find it hilarious when the dribblers are out there, masters of nothing, masters of everything. So when they're all into the stuff, and by the time it hits the front pages and blah, 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 we showed you aluminum or aluminium on AA. You can just look how much they pull back. These are big moves, 30, 40, 50%, some of this stuff. But they talk about like it's still going on. Why? Because it's a great excuse, isn't it? Inflation, someone else's fault, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, on that note, so we did have the rebound. This bloke's trying to hold it up. Can he keep it up? Hey, can he keep it up? Anyway, all jokes aside, it's a big week. Do yourself a favour. It's all on the weekly that I guess I should... that Cautious Investor does. It's got everything on here. Do yourself a favour. Get on it. There's your whole week's planning. So all these, at the start of the week, you should have a roadmap. Look, everything's on here. These all in a react. The S&P, the bond market, the different ETF, the bond market there, all the different currencies. So this stuff all relates. If you're ahead of the curve, none of this becomes a surprise, right? So you have a roadmap. There's a little thing on it. Okay, so this is what matters this week. These earnings. So tomorrow you have Google, Meta's favorite stock, General Motors, Chipotle, Microsoft, UPS, Pepsi, General Electric, Visa. These are all significant for a company and for an index. Then you got Boeing on Wednesday, a bunch of other stuff.
So,
Facebook, or renamed as Meta so you wouldn't know that you're losing half your money. Amgen's another big one. Thursday, Twitter. Man, isn't that going to be an interesting one? Bring out your popcorn, hey? Madav, Twitter. How's that earnings?
Thursday.
Yeah, they're going to have to talk about Elon more than what they have. The guy that they tried to do the poison pill on is now their master of ceremonies, assuming all goes well there. We also have Merck, big drug company. Caterpillar, big economy. Amazon, oh my goodness. What's going to happen? Will Bezos show up in his new HTC his new steroid-induced body. Did I say that aloud? Anyway, Apple, Intel, look at all this stuff. Domino Pizza, PayPal, just been wrecked. You did. Remember you did share Vimo. They're trying to change their policy, kind of like Netflix. Shit, we got to get money somewhere, kind of theory. Then Friday's a big one for us in the energy world. Exxon, Chevron, Phillips, big guys. So you got a big week. There's also a few IPOs popping their heads up, right? So the market's trying to do something. So do yourself a favour, get on that. So great to see all the feedback and messages on Friday's dribble. So like us, subscribe us. If you like what you're seeing, let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. Let us know what's useful. Let us know what's annoying. And all that sort of thing. So like, subscribe, share. We're doing this trying to be helpful, and try to bring a little bit of lightness to a bearing. Thank Johnny. Everyone's hearing all about Johnny's little tax situation over there. So good to see. Natural gas has flipped over $7. So again, that's a 50, 60 cent bounce. So these things are bouncing 10 or 20% intraday and day. So be aware of that if you're trading them. Okay. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Madavi. Another great trading day. Let's see. Going to be a very violent week, one would suspect. If it traded like this when they got all these big stocks to come, this could be quite an energetic week. So trade what's in front of you. Don't do too much of a shotgun approach. Get to know a few things. A good idea would be some of those big earnings this week. Watch what they're doing. Keep an eye on optionality, i.e. OI a week out, at least a few days out. Okay. Thanks for joining. Like,